Boom, boom, boom. All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Um, yeah, it's been a little while, but um, try to design or put together this slideshow from feedback about going into more detail and talking about meanings of symbolism. Um, so we're gonna go through a few slides I put together, and then yeah, let's get it rolling. This is Greek words, and the star. There's many different shapes, but this is symbolism. This is occult, um, alchemy. This is alchemy. Notice triangles, the pentagram. I've shown you pictures from past episodes of city layouts. This is Detroit. Yes, sir. A lot like Washington D.C. Um, yeah, isn't that funny? And now this slide is just all the ways that the elites and secret societies use um, symbolism. And this is just a pictorial representation of how confusing all these languages that they've put together can be. I mean, it's designed to be confusing, all of it. Absolutely. You got Hebrew in there. You have astrological signs. The symbols that I just showed you on the previous slide are all in there, and the fire, earth, water, uh, compass, directions, Monday, the days of the week. It's everything is it's all incorporated. It's all part of their language. Right. See, now when you look at it, you actually start seeing it. Yeah. And that's exactly what created languages do to your ears, as what this picture is doing to your eyes. You know, um, it's languages are designed, symbolism are designed to just be confusing. Conspiracies are put out there to trap you. But right, it says the OD. Exactly, and it 100%. It's all, and it to me it tells me too that it hijacks a lot of these things, not just creates them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of it hijacks. You know, it leads into Freemasonry and where they came from, and all the secret societies. The secret societies that control things, they are too under certain rule. And this whole thing is a symbol. You know, you got your triangles, you got your pentagram. The two heads represent duality. It also represents, I mean, yes, sun and the moon. Yeah. And then, yeah. But again, it's this is back, a picture back from um, Renaissance, medieval times. That whole time is very confusing in history, but the symbolism is strong. And we're just going to focus on a few symbols. We've pointed out this Egyptian symbol here on the left, and that star on the left. I don't know if you can see the cursor. That's what it is. I couldn't think of it. But there's just certain, and we're going to go back through pictures that I've brought up before, because these things, our discussions are not lighthearted or something you're just going to listen to early in the morning and sip on coffee. It's a research project. It's and it takes a long time to get through the confusion in the fog and focus on just a few symbols at a time. And the way I did was by finding them throughout history and trying to look at them in older things and see how they keep coming up in patterns, basically. And I mentioned the Dutch East India Company. That was in a previous slide. All these slides have been in previous. I think you've shown this before. Can't hear you or me. I hear you. All right. All right. Is it? No, because I turned the volume. I have you on my phone, the show on my phone, and I turned the volume up, and all I heard was echoes of me coming through. Nobody on the.
All right, I just put it on. I'm trying this way. I don't know if it's gonna work. Check. Check, check, check. 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 Check, 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 check. All right. Can you hear me on the phone now? Oh, she
Uh,
can hear me. All right, it's working.
all right.
Sorry about that, everybody. We have these little hiccups. I just updated my streaming program, so it probably made a couple changes. So bear with us. All right, we're up and running.
We can only be experts in so many things at a time.
Right. Thanks, Ma. You're the best.
All right. So, with the delay and everything and all that, I'm going to go back, start over, which is good because that's how you learn and how you get to see the confusion and figure out certain things. Like, just focus on the pentagrams and the stars. That's what shows up in the first one. He said here we got alphabet, Greek. alchemy. Triangle down, water, fire, earth, air, spirit.
Oh yeah, all those symbols are right there in that city structure. The
Absolutely.
circle at the top. That's so
Yeah, the whole
crazy.
pentagram. It is crazy, and any one of these pictures or topics, we could spend an hour on just that and dig, find places all over the world and find the symbolism, find where it relates to. I'm not going to spend the same amount of time on this picture as we covered how confusing and how much of it is, how much it hijacks everything in multiple languages, creates languages. The the hermetic principles are all in this, and the Orphic egg around the whole thing. This is the logo for the Dutch East India Company.
Yeah.
So many things are right in your face. The best way to learn symbolism, like I was saying, was to just focus on a few, and I'm going to continue to just focus on a certain few. Um,
That's the Google Play.
right. So there's Satan has a lot of lies in the Bible, and coming to a realization that Christianity as a religion is one of them. Many people believe that Jesus came here to give Christianity. There's your Google Play. Goes right into the
Yeah.
symbol of Satan. Sorry, I got distracted. But you can get so many things wrong and still go to heaven, but you can't get Jesus wrong. He's God. He's not a glorified prophet. He's God manifested as a man,
Yeah.
and that represents him giving us salvation. And learning that, I realized within the truth how much of it has been hijacked. They still put it in your face as much as they put symbolism in your face. But I as learning that God is a man, as Jesus given us salvation. It's religion is a journey, not a destination. It's more than that, and that's the teachings of what Jesus was trying to teach.
It's a
And
process.
it is. It's the process.
Yeah.
Not a place you go to and only do it on certain days. But everything is all about their subtle symbolism. And like I said, I'm going to continue to show slides of the past. We're going to go past shows. Sorry. And I'm going to re-go through a lot of things and just point out the basic symbolism. I don't know, Jay, can you see the cursor?
Yep.
With the mouse? So if I'm we got the confusion of this picture, but I just want you to focus on the black and white checkered, and the horns. Horns come up in many different ways. These are symbols that I'm going to continue to show. I'm going to go back in the past pictures I've shown in upcoming shows.
There's a lot of prophecies in the Bible that have to do with horns.
And as I go and introduce things that are all tied together, and slowly go back through things that I've presented before, because I can go back and catch something that I said and then realize how it's connected to something I presented this show. This is where, to me, the lion and symbolism, so it goes back to the Bronze Age, you know, Gilgamesh, and this statue of him with the lion. Um, Lion shows up a lot, and I believe it predates a lot of the things that they will tell you, and a lot of like explanation of heraldry and symbolism. Um, here's a real lion, a lion attacking the winged lion.
It's called a griffin.
Right, and other uh, cultures, it's a griffin. Um,
Or is that with like the bird head? I don't remember.
right, and then it start. That's another confusion they do. They start showing you mixing the two, but um, this will make me think of um, sorry, the 12 apostles. Even during um, times of heraldry coming around, that you know a lot of symbols were hijacked into heraldry. Um, each apostle had their own symbol. Um, and what's they had, like Judas had a flame. A lot of them, I didn't get them all down, but you can look up the 12 apostles.
Do you got
And
Dan?
right.
Do you have the tribe of Dan?
No.
Oh, that was I was asking because that's Obama's grandmother, and it's a serpent. That's their symbol.
Really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I got some, like John comes up a lot, and it comes up in heraldry. White point cross, Andrew X-shaped cross, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but to me, trying to piece all these things together, and I was hyper folk trying to figure out which one is real, which one I decided to simplify it, in my own way. Um, like uh, Gilgamesh, he's some say that what a god he was. This was a symbol of power when he's holding this lion. To me, this is a bloodline that believed they are either directly from Satan, or they're choking out this bloodline, this tribe, and that's how I view the line coming up in royalty coat of arms and heraldry.
Yeah, I believe that there is a satanic bloodlines. There are.
Well,
Um,
we discussed the sin, the daughter of Satan. There's a story of Adam married before Eve, and she was banished.
that's just a story.
It is, and that was, I believe, another part of the lies of how Satan has interjected into a bloodline in theory or whatever. But to me, the lion is them joking out a bloodline, or maybe somebody, a bloodline of Jesus, or whatever, whatever they're really hiding. But I'll look at it as a symbol of the 13 bloodlines, the ruling bloodlines that have always ruled. Um,
Well, Jesus did say that. When he confronted people, he would say, "You are of your father, the devil, and you will do your father's will." So I think that there are people for sure that are considered, you know, children of Satan. I don't know if it's like a bloodline thing, but they're
I don't know either,
definitely.
but from my research and their narcissistic,
Oh yeah, they definitely
you know
are.
what I mean. They believe it. You know what I mean. So I'm going by that,
Yeah.
and the symbolism through Bronze Age, Mesopotamia, them with the lion is them, even Judah betrayed Jesus for what, 30 pence or whatever it was,
Yeah,
whatever they had,
30 silver coins. Yeah.
over 30 coins, and um, the symbol of him is a lion, and then this is map making during times of heraldry.
Well, they steal
Um,
it because, Jesus is the Lion of Judah. So
correct.
that's why
Well,
it's
that
blasphemy. That's what they're up to.
absolutely, and like the picture I showed before, Gilgamesh choking out the lion, and that's what I believe they're saying
Right. That.
in symbolism.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's
Is
like,
we're taking over this, we're hiding it, we're choking it out, we're hiding that from you because we're the real bloodlines, and all over the world and throughout time, there's the number 13 to me represents 13 ruling bloodlines. We'll eventually get there, um, but this line is the Leo Bellicus.
take
It's
two. Yeah.
it's hard to say.
Yeah, it is.
Leo Bellicus. Um, it just means the Bellic lion. Um, and in heraldry, it's used a lot. Um, but to me, like I said, it's the symbol of them. They took that. They took the true meaning of the lion.
Is that a map?
Um, it is, and
All
this is how
right.
they used to draw. This is map drawn by Phoenicians, and the Phoenicians uh, would use the lion as the borders of their land. Sorry. Um, and mixed in heraldry. They were the ones that were creating the languages of maps, pictures, paintings, literature. Um, a lot of the symbolism that gets mixed into heraldry is from Phoenician culture. Phoenicians uh, are druids, which druids are a magic, an order of magic. They're one of the first secret. I believe that they are the secret. They represent the rulers of um, the quote unquote bloodline that has uh, hijacked everything. Um, Believe it or not, the phoenix is the symbol of Phoenicia. That's why you see the phoenix show up a lot. And I believe it's why they merged the phoenix head with the lion.
You want to know what I heard? That the
Yeah,
phoenix doesn't actually burn and come from ashes. It actually sheds its skin like a serpent and is reborn that way. I can't remember where I heard it, but I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I never heard
that
that
is
before.
interesting. Well, I mean, recent scientists say that birds are more related to dinosaurs or whatever was living back then. So I decided to put this picture in here because it was to a map and it came from Phoenicians during uh, Renaissance, medieval times, or beginning of heraldry and map making. Um, to me, it's them laughing in your face. That's a gesture with the map you're looking at the joke.
The globe joke. Yeah.
And that's part of heraldry too, because um, you know, you can get tons of books that will kind of agree on the same thing, kind of not agree on the same thing. It's all um, college educated guesses, really, and it's not. You know, they'll tell you it's about the time from Kings when um, the knights were going out and trying to take over other kingdoms. You know, we were putting helmets on our heads. We're a bunch of knights going out trying to fight for the king. We put heraldry on our armor so you can tell who's who from where. And it's just a bunch of gibberish. But all the times that we just spoke of the lion and all the times it's come up, to me, this is, you know, that them becoming the lion or becoming the bloodline or the tribe. There's nothing out. It reminded me of 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whomever he may devour.
Yeah.
That's that's him saying he's in the Bible. He's out there. He's already devouring it. He's a lion. He took the lion, the symbol of the lion. And
Yeah, I think I think that because of the what the I think it's more along the lines of what the lion does, you know. A lion constantly walks around prowling looking for prey, and that's
it's next.
exactly what the devil does. You know, so that's just a good comparison for the devil. I like that scripture.
I do too.
The Lion of Judah.
Yeah, the tribe of Judah, the Lion of Judah. Like I said, this is Jesus belonged to the tribe of Judah.
Yeah, he is
It's
the
high.
Lion of Judah.
Yeah, I mean, so to me that scripture and then this is just proof it was
That's actually what's on
hijacked.
my shirt right here, see?
And there you go. This is some heraldry I've shown you from the beginning multiple times. Um, the phoenix is on there, the lion. So we have, you know, the original rulers or royal bloodline as they think they are taking over. You know, the crown.
Dude, let me sidetrack you for a
You actually
minute.
look.
What do you think about the Queen? You seeing
I
all
know,
the
right?
stuff that's going on with that craziness,
Some
dude?
of it. I'm trying not to get too much, you know. But yeah, I just know that
I was just watching people like
Sir
bow to
Charles.
the sarcophagus, and I'm like, man, these people are they are lost, man. They're like bowing to their slave master like it's some great loss to them. It's unbelievable.
It is. It's crazy to know how much truth is out there and how little people
Yeah.
accept it or see it.
Yeah.
Um, to me, I'm like somebody left the heating rock on too long. Sorry. that, that reptilian, anyways. But it's not a good thing. I can tell you that, regardless of her being a good thing or not. The one coming up next and inheriting what's to
Yeah.
rule.
These are
It's
the
a little
kings.
scary.
They're coming into place now. Ooh.
And his name actually has to do with what I'd say about how it's always the same. Um, King Charles. How many King Charleses have you ever heard of? They
Yeah.
regurgitate so many things. And I believe even the King Charles II or King Charles VI, whatever could be multiple players in this timeline or history line or whatever they want to tell you. So I've spoken a lot before of architects and how they even speak to each other through architecture. And when they get really arrogant, they put the heraldry right in it. The lion. I'm just going to focus on the lion. That's all I'm trying to, not get too crazy engulfed in heraldry. Because here's the Phoenician heraldry. This is the beginning of it, but this is all Phoenician. It's another picture like one of the first ones I showed you. It's designed to confuse you. And these are just a few examples of how ridiculously detailed and just an educated guess heraldry can be. So different animal. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just I was just wondering, what does this all say? Like, what is this? Is it? I can barely see the one on the left. Does that just tell you what all these things mean?
Yes, right. They tell you this is somebody else's educated guess at what they all mean. There's no actual definitive proof. You basically, if you wanted to, even back during the Dark Ages, you wanted to start your own heraldry, you could just grab whatever you want, put it together, and go along with
draw something up. Yeah.
And that's my point of just showing this. I don't want to get too involved in just this because to me, it's a language to trap you. It's a conspiracy to trap you. Is there truth in it? Yes. Is there truth in everything? Yes. But is there symbolism and lies hidden in it? Yes. So, like I said, I used my weak British voice. We're knights of the Round Table. We gotta put heraldry all over our armor because we're wearing helmets. Gotta figure out who we are. No, all right. And now this is another picture from another educated guess of what these symbols mean. This is another one that would probably be more along the lines of showing up in time, different timelines or whatever they had their history timelines. But I underlined the two that we will be focusing on. Number 6 is the fleur-de-lis, and number 7 is a rose. But I'm going to show and tell you that not only does it represent the flower, and some say what, Isis.
Yeah.
That goes back to alchemy and using magic. It was a symbol to represent for those ruling bloodlines to only use magic with balance for your personal gain or your personal pleasures. Even doing too much of it is bad. But the point is, it goes beyond just the flower, and it's a part of hermetic principles and alchemy, and it's hijacked. I'm focusing on just certain ones.
I've been seeing that thing popping up a lot too. The fleur-de-lis. It's
right.
Like all over people's clothes and the fabric, and it's in patterns, and people are just wearing it, rocking it a lot lately.
Yeah, because it's a symbol of their magic, really, not as a flower or the flower theory is hijacked, and it's been hijacked as a French symbol, right, in the French quarter of the South, right,
and the New Orleans Saints.
So right. So what's popular down south for a magic? Can you think of one?
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's always the same. It still exists. The people just say it's blah blah blah, but it's not. Their educated guesses is blah blah blah. And we'll go through it. That rose. This is a symbol. The rose is a symbol for this guy. This guy is Martin Luther. Have you ever heard of Martin Luther?
Yeah, I got his book out there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Protestant
Yeah.
Reformation. He's not a good guy. Um,
I got lots of books from lots of bad people.
okay, so on top up here, this picture is the East India Company. This is their heraldry. Now they're mixing in the lion and Chimera with a seahorse. But the important things is not only just the lion, but the rose. It's a Rosicrucian 5-petal pentagram rose. It's also Martin Luther's family crest. That's the true symbolism of the rose. You see the rose a lot. But that's where it comes from. It comes from the Rosicrucians. Martin Luther was a Rosicrucian.
That's just another level in the Freemasonry, right?
It's one of the first. Yes, it is another level. It's more of a controlling level of the Freemasons, but yes, we'll get into that. Like I said, each subject or topic that I'm introducing now it will be ones that relate to everyone I've talked to, but also setting up for the next. Because I mean, we can go just pick one thing that we talked about and go on for forever. But why I chose this was Martin Luther, and he, during his time in creating the Rosicrucians, the Protestant Reformation, Lutheranism. He was also the one that had started the sexual Reformation. The Protestant broke away from the church, and he basically fought for sodomy and a lot of things that the church didn't really, say that is okay. They actually had laws against, but he was even Semitic, anti-Semitic. He wasn't, he has writings that talk about him that he wasn't so like racist Jew like against them, but just his Lutheran and Protestant beliefs were different than his, different philosophy, but he didn't speak highly of them. And here's I pulled this article up just as a point, a little proof of point here. So Reformation Day, Protestant Christians embrace LGBTQ diversity 500 years after Martin Luther. And it's funny that we had a modern day activist named after this certain person.
It's funny to me that people that call themselves Christian can embrace homosexuality.
Well, this guy is the one who started that saying okay. To me, this is another person who, to me, is inhabited by Satan or Satan's demons to
Oh yeah.
go this far,
Yeah. Definitely a child of the devil.
So knowing that the red rose has a hidden pentagram, and Martin Luther starting Protestant and Lutheran, here's a Protestant Lutheran church. And you see a lot of churches with red doors on it, right?
Yeah.
That's also hidden in heraldry. But the true meaning is the Rosicrucian rose, the pentagram rose. And if you look down in the corner, you see around this church is the checkered, the black and white.
Yeah. Totally Masonic.
The controllers, always the same. So we started to talk about the Phoenicians. They're Canaanites from Canaan. Canaan was Phoenicia. The phoenix is the symbol for Phoenicia. They are all druids. The druids, secret order of the druids. Let's go back. Let me escape out of this because I had something here about the Rosicrucians also. It popped up, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's going slow.
Oh, we can. Well, it was on there.
Yeah, well, now it's not doing its thing.
Well,
Okay, so the whole
yeah.
point of I was going to show, let it load, but I'll go back because I had this one ready too because um, this is called the Rosicrucian cipher, or some know it as the pigeon cipher. And I wanted to show this because this is another proof of languages created or hidden within languages. If you look at the left here, or the right, sorry, we got the whole alphabet. You make two tic-tac-toe boards, the one on the left, and then there's one on the right with the dots. You write the alphabet out in it. And those letters represent that shape.
Gotcha. That's
I
pretty
didn't
cool.
want to go too crazy into it, but yeah, it's there. It's a cipher code.
Because I've seen a lot of that stuff, but it didn't really mean much to me at the
You
time.
do, and some of it's engraved in old stuff. You know, when you look at, if you focus on the triangle and the ankh, just a few of the things you see, even just the tip of the triangle represents the triangle. See, there we go. This is the rosy cross, the rose cross of the Rosicrucian order. Yeah, they also started from the Rosicrucian order. They started the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The same people.
My
but
goodness, that
these symbolism, yeah, and that's another design to confuse you. As almost as confusing as that first picture I had up there. Okay, let's go back. I apologize. The computer's just loading slow. Here we go. I'm back up. Let's get back. We're talking about the Phoenicians and how they're Canaanites, Druids. One Druids were. There's the Phoenix. They're a magical order of. They believed in magic. They still do. And I believe they're probably the controlling secret society behind all controlling secret societies. But Phoenicia, they believed in deities and they had different gods. There was their creator god, Baal, and his son Melkart. And they come up a lot. And they were interpreted into other gods, into Greek. But some of these city names to me come through, like we got Byblos. Jay and I have talked about New York being Babylon. That name sounds a lot like Babylon. To me, this is their New York city. It also made me think of Rev 18, Revelations 18. I think Jay, you brought that up before about Babylon and New York being Babylon.
Yeah, I was gonna make a video on it a long time ago, but it ended up being so in depth that it's just an ongoing project. But yeah, it speaks about Revelation 18 speaks about the destruction of New York, and I actually have it pulled up right over here. I read a little bit of it. So, um, yeah, it says, and I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye be not receive of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for the strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. And then, if you go down a little bit further at verse 11, this is where you really start to see like they're totally talking about New York City. So it's, well, I'll go back one more verse to 10. So standing afar off for the fear of torment, this is all the people watching around, saying, Alas, that great city Babylon, the mighty city, from 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. So remember the Jewish people, the synagogue of Satan, the Jews that are obsessed with money, who call themselves Jews but aren't. They're the synagogue of Satan, which it speaks of in the Bible. They all are in New York. This is where they trade and have all their merchandise and Wall Street. And so verse 12 says this, the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses, chariots, slaves, and the souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all the things that were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more. The merchants of these things were made rich by her. They shall stand off far off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. And every shipmaster, and all the company of ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood far off. Now, if you read through about Babylon and the horror of Babylon and Revelation 17, uh, you think of New York, it really paints a really big picture. The statue, it talks about the whore of Babylon who sits on many waters and a people of many tongues. That's New York, man. That's where all the immigrants came in. The Statue of Liberty, ISIS, Lucifer standing right on that pedestal as soon as you come in. Like all these people of different tongues are there. Like there's no mistaking. Like, and this is gonna happen soon, dude. This city is gonna be taken out.
I believe it's happened before. I believe they just keep rebuilding or replacing, maybe avoiding it. I don't know. But to me, you said in that in those lines said the city was of great linens, of colors of purple, right?
Mm-hmm.
The great linen that was colored purple was the one of the greatest exports from Phoenicia by the Phoenicians by ships traded for gold.
Do you know how they made that stuff, dude? Snails. Little tiny snails, dude. They had to smash millions of them to get this dye out of them, and they would cook them in the sun. And it would make this purple dye, and that's why the royals had them, because they would pay all these people, or
It
just
was
their
so
slaves would
right,
do it.
right, and that was from Druid Phoenician the beginnings from them.
That's crazy. That I was like, what, it came from snails? That's nuts.
Uh, so Phoenician god is El, Baal. Greeks call him Baal, but his representation is Saturn. El is the father of Melkart, and I'll explain to you why Melkart is important and how it's just Phoenician regurgitated over and over again, much as New York City. And everything is a play of words. These, like I said, druids are magicians. They hijack languages and create them for spells, casting spells, getting you to say chants or saying whatever, and never know it. And I thought Phoenicians' god El was a funny example, like President elect, or he won the election. So many things in our language is just
Given
them.
power, yeah.
We're tricked into saying these things so many times. Like you get elevation by elevator, sometimes into a parallel universe. It's just a different way of thinking about things. These druids also cast spells this way in television. They tell you a vision. Elevision.
Yeah.
Like motion pictures, these druids control Hollywood too, and I'll continue to prove that as well.
That's
Motion picture, just what's that?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, that's why this is something that I've been trying to lean on right now, and I was actually gonna probably end up making a video about it at some point. But with idolatry, and thou shalt not make any graven image, and it talks about not having these images, but I think that a moving image can be just as dangerous as a still image.
Absolutely, and it's why you're tricked into being sucked into watching it and seeing it. So I know the spelling is incorrect, but just watch how I change two letters and the whole meaning of these two words change. I know it's incorrect spelling, but motion picture is really a potion mixture.
Yeah.
It's
No, I can see that, especially in the spirit, man.
absolutely. I mean, why do they say it's a scientific fact? You start watching TV, within 10 minutes you feel sleepy.
You watch
So
TV in
what do
10
we
minutes,
have
you
here?
start getting indoctrinated.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the power of the symbolism.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like me trying to put an hour together slideshow of an hour TV show and pointing out symbolism. You're going to get confused by this ridiculous plot or whatever crap they're mixing it in. So back again. I'm gonna L is the symbol of Saturn, or Saturn is the symbol of El, the Phoenician god, creator deity. His son is the Melkart. Melkart is the Greek Hercules.
These are all fallen angels, man.
Thank you.
They were real people. You know, they were on this earth, but they were definitely fallen angels.
Absolutely. Um,
Must have been crazy back then.
I know. Just couldn't imagine. But so here's a nice picture of Baal, El.
Yeah, they just had that big Baal worship ceremony at the whatever that games was a little while ago, like a month ago.
Oh yeah,
With the big
yeah.
ball and all these people like bowing down to it and giving it stuff and oh my goodness,
Like
man.
just kind of like this.
Yeah, exactly,
um,
man.
and so
Worshiping
this
that
is this
golden
is
calf.
actually this is depicted from Phoenicia, parts of what was the Phoenicia's empire and territory. In the back is a temple, Melkart, Temple of Melkart, El's son. Um, Again, I believe things were hijacked because this temple, if you look closely, you see your arch, your triangle, the brick. It's much older than what we can find for dates in these secret societies. Here's the real leftover temple of Melkart. This is in Spain, which Spain was ruled by the Phoenicians and the Phoenician bloodlines from the 13 ruling bloodlines. Parts. It was bigger than what they say. I completely believe it was just like the whole globe is a business. The Druids were the ones that started the law of the land, the law of the sea, and creating all these businesses way back, traced back to Roman and Greek times. Being Greek and Hercules is the Greek version of Melkart. I don't know if you ever heard of the Pillars of Hercules.
I've heard of them, I just never saw them.
Okay, so in their theories or legends or however you will, there was a ginormous Hercules that stood over their land to protect them. You ever heard of the Rock of Gibraltar?
Yeah.
That is one of the actual pillars. And this was under Moorish rule for hundreds of, if not thousands of years. Moorish people are just the bloodline, one of the 13 ruling bloodlines of the Phoenicians. All the Druids, and really these are all related to the Jesuits. These Jesuits from way back. I believe the hidden ruling bloodlines that they call themselves are a lot of the Jesuits. They are the Jesuits. They've created the Druids, Phoenicians, but it's still in rule to this day.
Pope Francis.
All of it. Yeah. I mean, and it's all fabricated to confuse you and for them to give themselves a high five and speak to each other that way. Oh, Prudential Insurance Company still have the Rock of Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Yes, they still
I
represent
remember all those
the pillar
commercials,
of
man.
Hercules.
Yeah.
You remember those?
Yeah.
There's the real Rock of Gibraltar. This place is still British owned, and it has been centuries, hundreds and hundreds of years. This place, there's a Moorish castle, one of the oldest castle remains in the world. So many things, legends and stories of our timeline come from the Rock of Gibraltar. It's a limestone mountain. It has pockets of calcite that, when calcite touches water, it dissolves and creates pockets like caves. And this
Yeah, it
thing's
looks like
full of
behind that building on the right there, it's like a discolored. It looks like it's been melting away.
right. So this rock is believed to actually have been one of the pillars or housed the pillars. And this is what's left, and it's been like that for thousands of years. It comes up so much. When during World War, it was evacuated completely of all population, and 30,000 British troops were stationed in here, because in these caves they say that there's um, where people went for refugee, or set up cannons to defend the land, or the Moorish castle. And during they were afraid that the Germans were going to come and get them. So they had this huge cave in there that could house 30,000 people and not be detected. It's just a reference to see how big this thing actually is. To think there was a statue, ginormous statue across this thing, as a pillar, is just crazy. I mean, there's the Strait of Gibraltar that's there now, and across the water, there's two different speculations of what place was the actual location of the other pillar. But even Paramount, they've changed their logo over the years, but that's where their mountain came from. It's actually the Rock of Gibraltar. And like we just said, druids control Hollywood and make motion pictures.
Yeah,
So
they
here's just
they
a little proof.
broadcast, right? They do their broadcasts, they're casting their spells to get through to your TV, to get you your TV program, and dude, yeah, it's all craziness, man.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out, that, all the way back to past Greek times, I'm showing you that Phoenician, Druids, Jesuits, they're just 13 ruling bloodlines that control everything. And did you know the Phoenician word Cana is actually banker? The Phoenicians were the bloodline of the rulers, the one royal bloodline that controlled the banking. And this is a map of Gibraltar. The purple is the pillar of Hercules, and the other two dots are the speculation of where he straddled.
Dude, if there was really like a statue going across that thing, that must have been enormous.
Imagine that, how big it would be today. You know what I mean?
Oh my
Imagine being an
goodness,
old
dude.
that.
It must have been
So
huge, man.
the Rock is UK owned. The rest of the territory uh, is Spain. Even though Spain's owned by the Jesuits, the Rock of Gibraltar has been England and UK under their rule. This is the Gibraltar skull, the first quote unquote Neanderthal. This predates any Neanderthal. This was found in the Gibraltar Rock when they were making those tunnels I was just speaking of. This is bigger than a human head.
I was gonna
They
say it
wrote
looks
about
like a
this.
Nephilim head, an old giant.
It absolutely. It basically is. It's a Nephilim head. And when this was found, I think it was like 1848 or something like that. There was no other fully in contact skull of a Neanderthal. So this thing, even then they were saying when they found it that this is an ancestor of human from before the flood, which would be a little physical proof that how I don't know exactly, can't remember exactly how it goes, but it talks about in those days the Nephilim. They existed in those days and after the flood.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's why God wiped
the
everybody out because all DNA was polluted except for Noah's family.
and um, the Canaanites are from Canaan, who is the grandson of Noah,
Yeah,
if I'm
Ham.
correct.
Yeah, Ham. Ham is Noah's son, and they were supposed to spread out, but instead they built cities, and Ham was the one of the founders of the Canaanite. They're Canaan, I mean.
Right. Um, which is to me, a little proof of the hijacking of stories and the meaning of them. You know, um, and this I went back to this picture to show you that the Mediterranean Sea was actually land at one point, and the Atlantic broke through when the Atlantic flooded in the days or whatever. There's evidence of it being flooding once, and there's being a Mediterranean lake, and then flooded again and created the Mediterranean Sea. Um, just to put, the Nephilim were there in the times before and of the times and after the flood. Um,
Yeah, there's speculation about how they made it through. Like, and
the flood,
yeah, I'm thinking that they went underground. Because when Cain was cursed, it says, "Let him be a vagabond in the earth, not on the earth, in
on
it."
the
So I
earth,
think
right?
like there was a whole system of baddies that went underground, and I think that a lot of them escaped the flood.
And it sounds, crazy to think that going underground, you would think maybe this place would have been flooded, but um,
It's like the
this would be
drain
a
pipe
topic
in
for
your
some other.
sink, like the trap, there's always an air pocket
Right,
that keeps it from going.
right, and um, or even possibly be sealed in a way where the water continues to go down into the earth and it never really goes into their pocket. Um, but there, that is not a theory. That is pretty much 100% um, under our country, from East Coast to Midwest out to the West Coast, underground metropolises and highways connecting them. But I'm going to leave that for there. Now I'm going to have to prove it to you in the upcoming show. But I've been in a part of it. That's why I will say it's 100%. But that's a different story. But yeah, and I believe a part of the Nephilim thing too is I think I've been thinking about it lately too, and they talk about how the fallen angels mated with man and woman and created the Nephilim. But it says that Nephilim were there in that day and day after the flood. So are they trying to take blame of sin off of man and put it, could be like blame man for angelic sin? You know what I'm saying? Is this confusion in the story where man doesn't take responsibility for their sin, but it's more of angelic? But
Well,
anyways,
I mean, man, after Adam, man fell with Adam. So after Adam, that's Cain, and then Cain's children. Like man was fallen, but the angels came down and gave us things that we shouldn't have. They taught us how to work metals, how to do
The
certain
alchemy, right?
things, right? So they basically, what the Fallen did was speed up our destruction and bring on the flood, is what they helped. They helped to spawn it on a lot quicker than it would have progressed, I would say. But yeah, no, we were always sinful. I mean, we fell with Adam, so yeah, and Eve, of
Well,
course.
I think I'd probably rather be one and find my salvation and start learning these truths than ever be a fallen angel or a Nephilim.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I'd rather have the big G in my corner.
All right, so let's wrap this up. And I have a few different slides, couple more slides that's gonna show that how I tie the Jesuits, the Phoenicians, Hollywood, New York City, Manhattan, Gibraltar Rock, bankers, and how they're all been in control and creating the world as their personal business and using us as their money, their collateral. Is I can do it by showing one simple little wire. I asked Jay the other day if he ever heard of the Eruv wire. The Eruv encircles Manhattan to allow observant Jews to leave home on the Sabbath. So they made this invisible border, semi-invisible border around all of Manhattan so they can bend the rules, quote unquote, of the Sabbath.
Yeah, dude, those people are nuts.
Basically, yeah. So one of the biggest rules is you can't leave a private property and carry private property to public domain, even a semi-public domain. So you couldn't take your gold pieces from your house and go bring it to even, let's say, the wishing well and throw a penny in. It's forbidden on the Sabbath. But if we put this wire around and say that's the border of our private property, we can do trade. We can carry our private property to semi-public domains.
Yeah, dude. When I lived in Long Beach, um, I used to, because I do renovation, I used to patch up walls behind an alarm company, and all just so many Jewish families down there, and like they had electric light switches, like everything was automated so that they didn't have to touch anything on the Sabbath. Like I was like, wow, this is insane, dude, down here.
So they can still, yeah, so they can still basically indulge or be sinful.
Oh yeah, they're by the
And
law. Yeah, they are. They got it all wrong.
yeah, I mean, and to me, this is Jesuits, the Phoenician
Yeah,
bankers,
yeah,
the magic druids. They wanted to continue to do these things on these days. So if they tell you that the Bible, believing in these forbidden things that were rules set by a creator or God, Jesus, and they tell you that it's all hogwash or it's all who knows, but they believe in it so much that they will put up a wire all around Manhattan so they can continue to do forbidden things.
yeah.
But it's
Doesn't
not
make any
just
sense,
Manhattan.
right?
No, it doesn't. I mean, to me, that's just saying,
It's like spitting in
okay,
the face of God.
there's a God, he made rules, but watch me bend them and do what I want to do. And
Right.
I'll still be able to create my kingdom by just faith alone. No, I'm sorry. This is greed. This is Jesuit, Phoenician, and they have an Eruv wire. This is the one that starts at the Tower of David in Jerusalem. So even Jerusalem.
Yeah, this was a good find, dude. This is crazy stuff.
So then you get a list. You can look up the list of places with ERUV wire. And I highlighted one.
Yeah.
Highlighted one is the Gibraltar Rock. It's always been in rule of the Jesuits, of the Phoenicians. They still are.
I can't believe they think this little wire trick is gonna work. Like that just blows my mind, dude.
It's like I don't get it either. I mean, I understand your corruption, but how does that signify your private property, your personal domain? It's so
and how do you
so
think
you own all of that privately, and you're just secretly putting a out of sight boundary border.
Watch this, dude. God will never know. What the heck?
You can only, it's like an invisible fence for your dog. You know, I mean, just let's take the collar off on that. I don't know.
It's so crazy. Man.
Anyway, so I'm gonna end this slideshow at that. I just wanted to circle back around with everything I started with, and I plan on, probably giving you a couple of subjects of things that we'll talk about and how they relate to everything we just said. And I'll continue to pull from past shows and give you a visual at the beginning of shows from now on of the symbolism I want you to focus on. Because if you try to make sense of all of it all at once, you just go crazy. It is designed to make you go crazy and be trapped into one thing.
Yeah, I think if we stick to covering a couple things, probably it'll be a lot easier to really get it.
Right. So I mean, basically, I'm going to stick to, like I said, I'm going to pull back past things from past shows, and put them together and show you connections of how they're Jesuits, Phoenician, 13 royal bloodlines. We'll definitely get into that more, but I'm not going to go too crazy on too much. I just want to try to just, if it seems like I'm going out of subject, I'm going to circle back around. You might have to rewatch. I know it's a pain in the ass. We can talk for a couple of hours and throw out a lot of information, but I'm learning. For years I've been going on my own journey and learning the truths and teaching myself these. So it's been a long time since I first started trying to make sense of symbolism and heraldry or royal bloodlines and religion. So give me feedback. Tell me what I need, what you want to hear, or explain something else. It's only going to make me better at being able to explain it in a way that in my brain makes sense. I'm just, like I said before, I'm grateful people are listening. Somebody's listening. I got feedback. It means somebody listened. Give me feedback. Continue. I see in the chat here we have a guy named James Smith from the UK.
Yeah.
All the way from across the puddle. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he made that comment when we were talking about the Queen and the darkness of her.
Well, we'll be bringing up a lot of relations to puddle, so that's cool. I'm glad that we have listeners, but like I said, give me feedback. How it helps me learn. It helps me learn to try to teach better. But in the next show, we're going to probably try to do again Wednesday. You want to try to do every other Wednesday?
It's up to you, man. You know, it's on you. You're more busy than I am, so.
Well, I've had a lot of things happen all at the same time in 1 month that adapt to, but
Yeah, there's a lot of demonic attacks going on God's people, man.
um, I've I've always known I was gonna find truth. I knew I just felt something more, and I think I've heard you say it that you didn't know until you got there, and I didn't know till I got here.
Yeah.
And you got me here, and I've given you my word. So the more I do this, and the more feedback I get, the better I become. If you're willing to listen and bear with me and give me feedback, we're going to learn and get through this and try to just make sense of the controllers BS that they've made created around us. But anyways, thank you for listening, and to show you little couple pictures, a little bit of preview of what I plan on bringing up that has to do with Druids, Phoenicians,
Yeah, the
and
Baphomet.
symbolism.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Knights of Maltar, the sovereign military of Saint John of Jerusalem, and that is a um, uh, old picture of the Knights of Malta getting sworn in royalty, and you see their symbolism. But there's there's what Baffet,
The Baphomet.
Baal,
Yeah.
Baphomet,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll definitely get into that and how they're all related to everything we talked about today, and I'll pull some more slides from past episodes, past shows. Thank you, Jay. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. It was nice. It's been a
And if you
while.
had anything you wanted to add before I leave, or
Oh, I just want to say it's good to have you back. I'm glad you made it through all your stuff. Um, and we'll just keep plugging along and keep this battle going, man, and trying to open people's eyes and win souls for the kingdom, man.
amen.
All right. So thanks
All right,
everybody
man.
who stopped by to watch. Um, Appreciate all you watching and just leave comments and let us know because we grow with you. So, any final words, Franz?
Uh, Glory to God, and may God be with you all.
Amen, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.